Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hope life is treating you well. In one of my recent videos, I said how the weather was turning to be rather nice. Unfortunately, all that has changed. Today is freezing cold. Oh no, I want to go this way. Can I go this way? Maybe not. Anyway, the channel is on the cusp of 1,000 subscribers, so if you guys want to help nudge it over the top, greatly appreciated. But that also means that now we're officially a widely acknowledged authority in the e-bike space. And with that newfound authority, I want to talk about the best bikes under $1,000. Now, to do this, I actually have to get off my bike because I have notes I have to look at. Do you want to go down this way? Let's see, that could be a good spot to sit, but what's over here? Whoa! Okay, I fishtailed in the mud. Water. You know what? Let's talk about the bikes and then come back and do this. Yeah, this will be pretty fun, actually. Oh, by the way, my last video got like 4,000 views, which is about 3,700 views above average. But in that video, I talked about how soon I'm going to be getting a mid-drive motor. It's currently in the mail from Hong Kong. And a lot of you guys had voiced concerns about the structural integrity of my Walmart bike frame. And to be honest, maybe this motor will completely trash my bike, but that's the fun of it. We're going to find out together. Okay, I'm going to move locations because there's a guy in that car right there, and he's making me rather uncomfortable. Okay, the topic. The best e-bikes under $1,000. Now this topic is near and dear to my heart because I have a homeboy that desperately wants an e-bike because of me, and he wants a cheap bike. He's not rolling in the cash, neither am I. So yeah, his only option is budget, and he really wants to spend less than $1,000 And I was talking to him the other day, and I was thinking, well, is it even worth buying an e-bike for less than $1,000? Because you might be a little bit better off saving more cash until you can afford something better that's going to last a while and just be more fun to use. So what I did is I went ahead, did some Googling, and I think I found the 3 best options for around $1,000, excluding custom builds. And speaking of custom builds, if you guys have cheap custom DIY bikes, let us know in the comments down below how much it cost and what specs you have. Okay, but getting back on topic, I have to cheat and check my notes. The first one is the Rad Mission 1. And of course, that's from Rad Power. I'm going to go from worst to best. I think the last one I'm going to talk about is your best all-around option. But this one, Rad Mission, $1,200. The power is 500 watts, and it's a geared hub motor, 48 volts, and a 10.5 amp hour battery for a total capacity of 504 watt hours. And those kind of specs, a 500 watt hub motor, 48 volts, a relatively small battery capacity, it's going to be par for the course when it comes to these budget e-bikes. I would say realistically, with those specs, considering the average human body weight and a mix of throttle and pedaling, that's probably going to be like a little bit shy of 20 miles of range with a max speed of around 20 to 26 miles per hour. This bike does have throttle and pedal assist. The pedal assist for all these bikes is going to be cadence-based, so it's not the good torque sensing, which is completely to be expected. The bike also has 0 suspension. That's also to be expected at this price range. And the wheels are 27.5 inch, so full mountain bike size tires that I have right here. And they're actually somewhat wide, 1.95 inches wide. And the width of the tires are actually pretty important because 1, it gives you more grip on the road, but 2, it's the only suspension you're going to have with this bike, so it's going to help to absorb some of the bumps, so the wider the better. And the last thing I have on this bike is that there's no derailleur because it's a single speed setup. So yeah, considering the price, I think that is a pretty solid all-around bike. And we all have slightly different needs and preferences, So this might be the best bike for you depending on those said preferences. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Although I don't think you can do stuff like this on any of these bikes, aside from maybe number one. Okay, but moving on, the next bike here is the Roadster V2 by Ride 1UP. And this comes in at $1,045 at the current moment. I think this bike was $1,000 a couple of weeks ago, but, you know, inflation. Okay, now when it comes to this bike, it's very different than the previous one. It looks pretty similar in terms of the frame and the overall construction, but it has a completely different set of trade-offs. So the power of this bike is the lowest on the list, a 350 watt hub motor with a 500 watt peak. The battery is also only 36 volts with a 7 amp hour capacity. So again, the weakest on this list by a long shot. And it also doesn't even have a throttle. So this bike is only pedal assist. And in that context, the lower power kind of makes sense because you're going to be helping out the bike. And that's definitely the intention of this bike. It's more of a bicycle rather than an electric motorcycle. And following that theme, this bike uses a belt drive. This is the standout feature of this. Belt drives are significantly better than chains in terms of their maintenance because they have zero maintenance. You never have to lube up the chain, adjust anything, and it makes zero noise. And I have to say, I'm super impressed to see a belt drive at this price range. But as mentioned, we do have other trade-offs in terms of the power system in order to achieve that. And what else? The bike also has 27.5-inch full-size mountain bike wheels, but the tires are only 1.1 inches wide, so they're very thin and there's no suspension. So this is definitely an on-road kind of a bike. Where am I going? I have no end game here. Ugh. This trail is clearly not designed for bikes. So many roots. Okay. Oh. Ugh. Oh boy. It's getting muddy. It's getting muddy. Okay, but here we go. Final bike on the list. This, you might have expected it, but it's the Lectric XP 2.0. This bike comes in at exactly $1,000. It has a 500 watt hub motor with a peak of 850 watts. Just like the first bike, it is a 48 volt system with a 9.6 amp hour battery capacity. This does have throttle along with the pedal assist. And the first on this list is that it actually has front suspension. Every other bike on this list has been a rigid frame. But of course, the major selling point here is that this is a folding bike. That's why it looks so funky. And that can be a pro and a con. If you want a more traditional bike, the previous two options are probably what you should be looking at. But this is very unique and it has a set of benefits because of that. Along with that unique look, this also has much smaller tires at only 20 inches in diameter, but they're wide or plus size because they come in at 3 inches wide. And I'm a huge fan of plus size tires. They give you more traction as well as a more cushioned ride. So along with the front suspension, this is probably one of the more comfortable bikes on this list. Oh yeah, and this is also a 7-speed. So the other two bikes on this list were single speeds. This has a derailleur and 7 cogs, which is actually, I think, the same exact setup I have right here. So there you have it, guys. Those are 3 of the best e-bikes at the $1,000-ish price range. I'm fully aware that you do have other options in the space, but considering I am now an authority on this topic thanks to my 1,000 subscribers, I think these are some of your best overall options, and each one is a little bit different based off of your individual needs and desires. And remember, if you guys have a custom-built e-bike that's around $1,000, let us all know in the comments down below and what kind of specs you achieved for that price. But with all that said, I'm going to get out of here before I get too muddy. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, as always, I appreciate a like. You know us YouTubers are addicted to those likes. Subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.